This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, the persistent presence of the Philippine National Police around the KOJC compound in Davao City has become a major cause for concern, according to the KOJC's legal counsel. Do not make rebels out of us. These are the words coming from the administrator of the KOJC over the intimidation tactics by authorities who are supposed to follow their mandate to serve and protect ordinary citizens. Meanwhile, the recent calamity that struck the Philippines is being perceived as a divine judgment against President Marcos Jr.'s administration. The KOJC administrator has criticized Bongbong Marcos Jr.'s failed flood control projects, which reflect horribly on his ability to manage disaster preparedness. In other news, PNP Chief General Romel Marbil faces sharp criticism from Vice President Sara Duterte. She called out his lies and reminded him that although he is dedicated to upholding the law as a chief of police, he should not be mistaken for a divine authority. For our top global stories, in Venezuela, both incumbent President Nicolás Maduro and his political rival Edmundo Gonzalez are claiming victory in this year's presidential elections, while the country's electoral council has officially declared Maduro the winner. The opposition party claims there were irregularities and asserts that they won by a landslide. And will Malaysia become the first Southeast Asian country to join BRICS? The nation has submitted its membership application. Russia currently chairs the economic bloc, a country seeking to expand its influence in the global south. I'm Frederico Velloso. Newsline World starts now. The widespread flooding in Metro Manila seems like a judgment coming from above on the current administration after thousands of flood control projects boasted by Bongbong Marcos Jr. in his third State of the Nation address failed. Here's the report from Hannah Jane Sancho.
Nagsasalita yung presidente natin pero may hustisya kasi ang langit. God is watching. So sa nangyayari ngayon, makikita natin, pinapakita sa mukha natin, anong klaseng pamahalaan meron? Anong klaseng utak ng leader meron? Huwag na nating hintayin na meron pang kalamidad kasi sa nangyayari ngayon, we know that God is intervening in this country.
This is the statement of Sister Eleanor Cardona, the Executive Secretary of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, at a press conference held last Friday, July 26. To recall, in his third State of the Nation address, President Bongbong Marcos Jr. boasted thousands of flood control projects and massive cleanup drives, and these were immediately put to the test. However, the result was great devastation, with widespread flooding that caused a state of calamity in various parts of Luzon due to the torrential rains brought by the southwest monsoon or Habagat and Typhoon Karina. According to the Executive Secretary of KOJC, this is a divine judgment on the current leadership of the Philippines.
Talagang ang Diyos na rin ang parang nag-intervene. Totoo. Kasi sa mga nangyayari ngayon, kagaya nga ang nature na ngayon ang parang humuhusga sa mga sinasabi ng ating presidente. Nakikita natin kung ano na ang nangyayari ngayong hatol sa nangyayari sa ating bansa.
Tons of garbage piled up on the streets. Last week, aside from climate change, Marcos also blamed the public for improper waste disposal, which caused severe flood in Metro Manila. However, according to Sister Cardona,
walang nakapigil. Ang dami pa niyang reason kung bakit ganon. Marami silang alibay. Ito yung itsura ng Pilipinas ngayon. Trash, basura, kalamidad. Nagre-reflect yan, di ba, sa utak ng leader. Kung ano ang leader, yun yung nakikita natin.
Meanwhile, SMNI anchors criticized the government's failed disaster response.
30 hours pa po after nag-react si Mr. Marcos na bumabaha na at nalulunod ang mamamayan sa Metro Manila at sa paligid ng mga rehiyon. Hindi nyo ba nararamdaman ito? 30 hours bago mag-react ang presidente and the only thing that he can do is magkaway-kaway sa military truck at magbigay ng abubot at adborluloy sa mga tao. And he cannot command a conference how to orchestrate a whole of government mobilization in times of crisis. Failure of leadership, miserable failure of governance ang nakikita natin kay Mr. Marcos.
Sana magising-gising na rin po ang ating Pangulo dahil iba ho ang kumilos pag Panginoon na. Kasi kung nakita nyo naman yung nangyari sa SONA, pinagyabang ninyo yung achievement yung basura at yung achievement nyo sa baha. Kinabukasan, tinambakan ng basura at ng baha. Yun po ay, ayan ay sabi nga ng iban ano na po yan, galaw na po ng Diyos yan.
Kung maayos yung leader, maayos yung kanyang pag-iisip, maayos yung kanyang pamamahala, hindi hahantong sa ganito ang sitwasyon ng ating bansa.
In the end, the KOJC urged the people to wake up and not wait for another disaster to occur due to the failed government of the current administration.
For our part, sa KOJC, nakita naman natin, maraming nagtetestify, hindi lang kami, parang self-serving magsalita. Pero, kung napapansin nyo, kung ano ang kultura ng kingdom, kung ano ang kultura ng mga mamamayan, kung anong nasa isip, nagre-reflect kasi yun kung anong kapaligiran natin. Kaya nananawagan na kami ngayon sa Pilipinas, ano ba talaga ang dapat na magiging leader natin dito sa bansa? Kailangan talagang matino. Mag-isip-isip na tayo kung tama pa ba? Nasa tamang pag-iisip pa ba yung pamahalaan natin sa nangyari ngayong kalamidad? Hintay pa ba tayo ng ibang kalamidad? Huwag na natin pong hintayin na meron na namang judgment na magbababat sa bansang ito at sa pamahalaang ito.
The KOJC reminds those behind efforts to bring down Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and the KOJC that evil will never prevail. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SM9 News.
Aside from the call for President Bongbong Marcos Jr. to undergo a drug test, following a viral video allegedly showing him snorting illegal drugs, there is now also a call regarding the real reason behind the increase in EDCA sites in the country. Let's hear the report from Jade Calabroso.
Ang EDCA po ay imbitasyon para sa digmaan sapagkat ito ay aminin man o sa hindi ng Armed Forces of the Philippines, ito ay forward deployment of military equipment of American interest sa Taiwan at sa kanyang hidwaan sa China.
This is the sentiment of Jeffrey K. Celis, an SMNA anchor and former intelligence officer of the CPP-NPA-NDF regarding the potential outbreak of nuclear war due to U.S. military bases in the country. This opinion emerged during a recent press conference with the Kingdom of Jesus Christ concerning Marcos's ability to lead the country. This is also due to his alleged series of wrong decisions for the nation. One of these is the country's shift towards the United States in terms of foreign policy. In 2023, the Marcos administration added 4 more EDCA sites to the 5 already in the country. These new sites include Naval Base Camilo Osayas in Santa Ana, Cagayan, Lalo Airport in Lalo, Cagayan, Camp Melchor de la Cruz in Gamo Isabela, and Balabac Island in Palawan. The EDCA or Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement is an agreement allowing the United States to use Philippine military bases and other facilities. Meanwhile, there are circulating reports that more than the 4 EDCA sites have been added by the Marcos administration, and the reason for this increase is to prepare the Philippines for a possible war with China due to the conflict over Taiwan. However, the administration has denied this. According to Marcos, the purpose is to defend the eastern part of the country, and the EDCA sites might be used for humanitarian relief efforts. For Ina Mortel, also an SMNA anchor, this is unbelievable because no Americans were seen helping during recent disasters, suggesting that the real intention is for America to use the Philippines as a launching pad for war in Asia.
Bakit magtatayo ng mga military bases dito? Sabi nila for humanitarian disaster response. Itong nagkaraang bagyo, may nakita ba kayo ni isang Amerikanong tumulong? Wala, diba? So gumagawa pa sila ng excuses. And yet, ang gusto talaga lang nilang mangyari ay maging launching pad itong Pilipinas para sa gera na gusto nila. At dito sa Asia, sinasabi nga ng mga political experts, ng mga geopolitical analysts, na dito sa Asia, ang Pilipinas ang susunod na Ukraine war.
Because of this, the press conference also focused on the potential outbreak of nuclear war due to EDCA sites, highlighting data released by R.J. Javellana of the anti-imperialist movement. According to Javellana, over 2,200,000 people could be killed if EDCA sites are targeted by Chinese nuclear weapons. Meanwhile, Martel also emphasized that unlike the war between Russia and Ukraine, where 14 million displaced Ukrainians had places to go due to the landmass area, the Philippines would face extremely dire consequences.
At kung mangyari po talaga ang gerang ito, tulad po no, sa Ukraine na nangyari, kung saan meron po silang 14 million refugees, nagkalat na po yan sa iba't ibang bansa. Pero yan, landmass po sila, may pupuntahan sila. Pero ang Pilipinas po, ang mga Pilipino wala pong ibang pupuntahan. Buong sambayan ng Pilipino po ay talagang mamamatay po.
For God and my beloved Philippines, this has been Jade Calabroso, SMNA News.
Meanwhile, Filipinos continue to question the reality of the Philippines' relationship with the U.S. due to the alleged impending war in Asia, where the country is seen as a merely tool for Americans to launch it, according to a political commentator and writer. One of the current points of contention is the planned $500 million foreign military financing for the Philippines. Ina Mortel has the details.
On July 30, the Philippines and the United States will hold a 2+2 ministerial dialogue in Manila, where the U.S. will formally announce approximately $500 million equivalent to over 29 billion pesos for foreign military financing or FMF. The U.S. Department of Defense had earlier announced its support for the Philippines due to escalating tensions in the South China Sea. However, according to political writer and commentator Ibi Hugalbot, the military aid should be questioned to determine whether it is genuine assistance or not.
Yung FMF po, no? Dalawang klase yan. Merong isang grant, meaning hindi babayaran ng beneficiary country, no? Walang bayad yun, libre yun. Or in a form of a direct loan, which means babayaran mo. Yan ang hindi klaro. So dapat, yan ang dapat itanong natin bukas kina Secretary Blinken at Secretary Lloyd Austin.
Hugalbot made this statement during the North U.S. Viewing Proxy War Forum held on Monday. Hugalbot further stated that based on the planned U.S. military aid to the Philippines, the so-called friendship between the two countries is dubious. This is because out of the $81 billion total U.S. foreign military financing, $61 billion is allocated to Ukraine and $18 billion to Taiwan, while only a mere $500 million is designated for the Philippines.
Almost 80 billion of the 81 billion goes to just Taiwan and Ukraine. Ang sa atin katiting lang, 500 million. That's just 0.63%. Not even 1% of the entire 81 billion funding. Kaibigan ka ba? Hindi nga umabot ng 1% yung ibibigay mo at questionable pa nga kung libre ba yon or babayaran mo.
Hugalbot also highlighted the U.S. military-industrial complex, asserting that the U.S. uses the Philippines as a tool to launch wars.
Ang Pilipinas ay tulad nga ng Ukraine at ng mga iba't ibang bansa, ginagawa lamang instrumento, no? Nito ngang mga Amerikano para mapalawig, no? Ang kanilang military adventurism, yung military interventionism, in order to fuel their defense industry, which is a big chunk or a big part of their economy.
Meanwhile, historical records show that the U.S. has been involved in over 100 military conflicts around the world. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Ina Mortel, SMNA News.
Aside from Marcos Jr.'s boast of thousands of completed flood control projects, did you know that he previously claimed that the U.S. military bases or EDCA sites would help in disaster response? Now that the Typhoon Karina has passed, what assistance did Americans provide to the affected Filipinos? Have Filipinos gained anything from the EDCA sites? Let's find out more about this with Omar Fusuelo.
The Philippines is frequently hit by typhoons due to its location facing the Pacific Ocean. This is where extreme changes in temperature and air pressure often occur between the oceans and continents. Therefore, it is not new for our country to prepare for disasters like typhoons, and it is the government's duty to present its plan to the public to prevent or mitigate the possible effects on Filipinos. One of the ways the Marcos administration is insisting on improving disaster preparedness is by allowing more U.S. military bases. To recall, Bongbong Marcos Jr. supported the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement or EDCA to supposedly strengthen the Philippines' disaster response. But instead of essential equipment for disaster response, tanks, missiles, and war training were showcased by the Americans, which the government just shrugged off. Recently, Typhoon Karina passed through the Philippines, putting the government's ambitious claims about the EDCA sites to the test. However, as the typhoon left the area of responsibility, the presence of the Americans was not felt at all. On July 29 Monday, various sectors of society opposing the war gathered to question Marcos and America's EDCA sites. For geopolitical analyst Herman Camentong Laurel, it is evident that there is too much propaganda for the EDCA sites.
Nahalata na po natin na marami pong propaganda para doon sa base militar ng Estados Unidos. Wala namang katotohanan. Makakatulong daw sa ating bansa sa kalamidad.
He said that the ones they considered enemies were the first to help the affected people.
Sino ang unang tumugon? Yung sinasabi nilang kalaban ng Pilipinas, ang China, si Ambassador Huang, umiikot na ng Metro Manila, nagdidistribute na ng relief goods. Nasaan ang Estados Unidos? Nasaan ang EDCA bases na yan? Nasaan ang mga truck na mga relief goods ng Amerikano? Wala po tayong nakikita. So magising na sana lahat tungkol dito sa panloloko ng mga Amerikano dito.
For former CPP, NPA, NDF intelligence officer Jeffrey K. Celis, what Marcos did was treason and betrayal of the nation.
Tama, hindi lang kabastusan, pagtataksil. Malinaw na pagtataksil ng gobyerno ni Marcos na palaganapin ang mga base militar ng Amerika sa loob ng mga kampo militar sa Pilipinas without passing through the consultative public opinion and approval of Senate. Ito ay circumvention ng konstitusyon at malinaw na yan ay mga paglabag na hindi dapat pinapabayaan ng mamamayan. Pagtataksil yan sa soberanya at integridad ng ating bansa.
For Ka Eric, it is evident that Marcos Jr.'s sudden shift in his foreign policy is for their own interest, using the Dutertes to get what they want.
Malinaw, they want to recover more than $380 million ng mga ill-gotten wealth na na-frozen sa Amerika and at least 4 or 5 properties nila na real estate sa New York. By the hundreds of millions din ito. At ito, after all, ay nagpapakita ang kanyang bait-baitan at ang kanyang gimmick ng pangampanya using the Duterte at ang tema ng unity and continuity was all about themselves only.
Former NTF ALCAC official Dr. Lorraine Badoy called the current government a puppet of America.
Napakaganda na nakita ng Pilipino ang kasinungalingan ng gobyernong ito sa kanila, at saka mga tuta ng kano ang mga nakaupo ngayon.
She emphasized that the EDCA sites being used for disaster response is only farce.
Ang kalikasan na mismo ang nagtanggal ng mga maskara nila. Nasaan ang Amerika? May nakita ba kayo? Wala, di ba? So, kalokohan yung mga sinasabi nila.
For God, my beloved Philippines, Almar Forsuelo, SMNI News.
You're just the law, you're not God. These were the Vice President Sara Duterte's words in her open letter to PNP Chief General Romel Francisco Marbil, where she pointed out his lies one by one. Jason Rubicol will give us the details.
Vice President Sara Duterte wrote an open letter addressed to PNP Chief General Romel Francisco Marbil. This is in connection with the issue of the PNP chief reducing the police security detail for the Vice President. Although Vice President Sara assured that Marbil's directive will not affect her work as Vice President, she cannot tolerate continuous lies being spread to the Filipino people, especially if the lies come from the highest police official. According to VP Sara, the Vice Presidential Protection Division under the Police Security and Protection Group or PSPG was established according to NAPOLCOM's orders to prevent interference in the Vice President's security by people like Marbil. Earlier, Marbil pointed out that local police are augmented to secure Vice President Sara when she visits the provinces. To this, the Vice President responded that the Vice Presidential Protection Division exists to prevent such interference and to ensure that local police work is not disturbed. The Vice President also refuted Marbil's claim that the chief requested the office of the vice president to remove 75 security detail because of the need for additional personnel in Metro Manila. According to VP Sara, no such request was made and the PSPG only informed them that they would take the personnel. She said they did not argue anymore about it, as Marbil as law. Marbil explained that they did not see any threat against the vice president, so it was necessary to reduce the security detail for the vice president. But Vice President Sara questioned the PNP chief on what threat means to him, if a threat can only come from external elements, and if it is not a threat if harassment comes from government personnel. The vice president pointed out harassment such as the malicious release of a video footage while she was at NAIA, taken from a place where only airport employees and select people might be present. Her husband and children were also seen in the footage, which posed a threat to their security. Vice President Sara also revealed that recently PNP operatives went to her residence area to do a case study, trying to locate the house she rented and the house where her children live. Luckily, the Homeowners Association officials prevented this. Vice President Sara also questioned why, if Marbil claims there's no threat to the vice president, why is he saying that the OVP can still request additional personnel? Moreover, the vice president questioned why is she left with 45 PNP personnel handpicked by Marbil. Therefore, the vice president told the chief that when it comes to her family's security, she will decide who is suitable, not Marbil, saying that the PNP chief was just the law but not God. Marbil said the removal of the security detail from VP Sara was for police visibility. For the vice president, this would be a good intention if true, but she finds it doubtful since 38 of the 75 PNP personnel came from Mindanao and were reassigned to NCR as if police in Mindanao were sufficient. Vice President Sara has long been aware of the police shortage issue, and Marbil's action does not address the police to population ratio in his security detail selection. She emphasized that the PNP needs a chief who thinks modernly and uses modern technology to solve peace and order problems. Vice President Sara worries that if Marbil can put her security at risk, how much more for ordinary citizens, such as the intimidation of ordinary citizens by the PNP for serving an arrest warrant to Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. Vice President Sara said the removal of PNP personnel occurred after she resigned from the Department of Education, after she compared the sauna to a catastrophic event, and after the release of the cocaine video. She told Marbil to spare the people from all the lies. It is clear, she said, that what is happening is a political harassment. Finally, Vice President Sara reminded Marbil to always tell the truth to avoid contradicting stories. Meanwhile, Senator Bato de la Rosa has called on former PNP and AFP personnel experienced in unarmed combat to volunteer to provide security and protection to VP Sara. Meanwhile, former presidential spokesperson Atty. Harry Roque has deemed Marbil's directive to remove Vice President Sara's police security detail as atrocious.
Napakasama po ng kanilang plano kasi ibig sabihin, nabawasan ang seguridad ng ating Vice President.
Mayor Baste Duterte has issued a challenge to Marbil following the chief's directive.
Kinanglan niya, polis. Butang na, polis. 75 yung mong gipangita, di ba? Mukuha kag usas Davao, mukuha kag usas sa Bensan, mukuha kag usas Mate, mukuha kag usas dito, dire, dito, na. I'm sure makakita kag 75 ka buok nga kwaon nilo sa tibuok Pilipinas. Bisag usa lang sa isa ka istasyon sa Davao o sa bisag unsang lugar, ma-fulfill na nimo imong ginapangita nga number of individuals or heads na kinahanglan nimo i-recall para makadungag ka. O karon, nganong kinahanglan kwaon man nimo sa usa ka source nimo nga security detail.
For God and my beloved Philippines, I am Jason Rubico, SM9 News.
In the meantime, many Philippines are now concerned for the life of Vice President Sara Duterte due to the ongoing abuses done by the police. In this regard, PNP Chief Marbil's actions have been called disrespectful and also an embarrassing abuse of power. Omar Fosuelo reports.
Vice President Sara Duterte could face the same assassination plot planned against former U.S. President Donald Trump. This was described by geopolitical analyst Herman Camentong Laurel regarding the alleged harassment done by PNP Chief Marbil against the Vice President. Camentong's statement follows VP Sara's open letter to Marbil.
Ang eksaktong nangyayari sa Estados Unidos din. Dahil po doon sa nangyari kay President Trump na assassination attempt, at nahagingan ng bala yung tenga ni President Trump. Isang dahilan kung bakit nangyayari yan po, tinanggihan din ng US Secret Service yung additional security ni Presidente Trump. Does the Marcos administration want the same thing to happen in this country?
He said that Marbil's action of reducing the Vice President's security was a huge mistake.
It is a grave mistake for that withdrawal of security support for the Vice President from the police officers, from the police forces.
For former CPP, NPA, NDF intelligence officer Jeffrey K. Celis, Marbil's action shows his lack of respect for the duly elected Vice President.
Tama at napakadelikado yan. If the Chief PNP cannot respect or afford courtesy sa pinakamataas na pangalawang pangulo ng bansa na inihalal, how can we expect the Chief PNP to respect ordinary people?
K. emphasized that Marbil's rudeness and abuse of power have long been directed at ordinary Filipinos, citing the example of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ and Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy.
At yan exactly ang binanggit niya kung paano sinaktan ng mga pulis ang mga kabataan, kababaihan at katutubo at mga unarmed civilians at mga workers and religious missionary ng Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Exactly how the Vice President described sa kanilang mga tapang-tapangan na pag-atake laban kay Pastor Kibuloy na hindi pa convicted at hindi akusado pa lang kung tratuhin nila parang sobra pa sa terorista. And that's the message that the Vice President right now is saying sa kanyang letter.
This was agreed upon by former NTF-ELCAC officer Dr. Lorraine Badoy.
At dahil sa leadership ng PNP, alam mo kung ano mangyayari ngayon, ang mga taong bayan hindi na pinagkakatiwalaan because under the watch of Marbil, yung pang-aabuso sa KOJC nangyari. Yung paglusob, yung pagmamalabis, paglusob ng 2 batalyon ng SAF, ng CIDG, may SWAT pa, may snipers, para mag-serve ng warrant of arrest sa isang taong presumed innocent unless proven guilty. Diba? Si Pastor. As a result of that, 2 ang namatay na mga katutubo natin under the watch of this Marbil, no?
Badoy also emphasized Marbil's embarrassing display of his abuse power.
Kung ako si Marbil, mamamatay ako sa kahiyaan, mahihiya ako talaga, no? So, itong si Marbil kasi nilagay niya sa kapahamakan ng Vice President. But again, si Marbil obviously ay isang taong walang sariling paninindigan at walang prinsipyo. Nakakahiya, PMA graduate pa naman, pinaaral ng bayan.
In the end, their message to Bongbong Marcos and Marbil is the same.
Dahil kung may anumang mangyari kay Vice President Sara Duterte, huwag naman sana, pero kung may mangyari po, ang talagang mapuputokan po ay si Bongbong Marcos.
Exactly kung mali ang ginawa ni General Marbil against the Vice President, President Marcos should order the recall of that illegal and anomalous order na mag-pull out ka ng security mo sa Vice President.
Nakikita naman natin, very consistent naman, hindi naman bobo ang Pilipino. Nakikita natin na iniipit ang Vice President. So sasabihin ko kay Marbil, Sir, at saka kay Bongbong Marcos, kapag kami nangyari sa Vice President namin na 32 million Filipinos ang bumoto, kayo ang sisingilin namin.
For God and the beloved Philippines, Almar Forsuelo, SMNA News.
Davao City Mayor Sebastian Baste Duterte has commented on the excessive police presence outside the KOJC compound. MJ Mandahar reports.
Morning, noon, afternoon, night, and even midnight. The police presence outside the religious compound of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ, or KOJC, here in Davao City is very intense. The police claim that they're just maintaining visibility. However, the close proximity of their checkpoints, all facing the KOJC religious compound, is noticeable. Even the PNP Highway Patrol Group frequently monitors vehicles outside the compound. The complaints from KOJC members have reached City Mayor Sebastian Duterte.
Ako na-declare mo kung war on drugs nga as It could be figuratively or literally, pero ingon ko, declare ta na mas serious na sa nga problema gyud compare nimo sa kung unsa man na gina-accuse nila o Pastor Kibuloy.
Mayor Duterte questioned the excessive police presence outside the church, the site of police abuse on June 10, 2024, during a violent search for Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy.
And it does not directly affect the lives of individual Filipinos or Dabaweños actually. Unya karon nagsige silang kalas og oras diha nga wa mang nay hinungdan inefficient unang-unas tanan nga ikaduha kuan grave abuse of authority gyud.
The once peaceful lives of KOJC missionaries in their Davao compound have been disrupted. They have vowed to continue guarding the church property. Mayor Duterte promised support to the KOJC members, hoping the harassment under the Marcos Jr. administration will end soon.
Ako mas moron they are hilarious. They are katawanan na ilang ginabuhat. Kaya inguna na sila ka immature og wala sa gihimo nilang murag playground nila, buhaton nila unsa nilang gusto without even referring to the law. Bisag pareha to nahitabo ko.
We sought the comment of the Davao City PNP on the issue and said that only top officials from the Philippine National Police Headquarters and Quezon City are allowed to comment on the matter regarding the good pastor. For Ganbabalo of Philippines, MJ Mondeha, SMNI News.
The Department of Budget and Management has formally submitted the proposed national budget for 2025 amounting to 6.352 trillion pesos to the House of Representatives. Crescent Kataran reports.
On Monday, Department of Budget and Management Secretary Amina Pangandaman turned over the National Expenditure Program or NEP for the coming year to the House of Representatives. The proposed budget totals 6.352 trillion pesos, equivalent to 22% of the country's gross domestic product. This reflects a 10.1% increase from the 5.768 trillion pesos budget of 2024. Education is the top priority with an allocation of 977.6 billion pesos aimed at improving the quality and accessibility of education for all Filipinos. Public Works will receive a significant allocation of 900 billion pesos. On the other hand, 297.6 billion pesos was allocated for health to continue the implementation of the Universal Healthcare Act and ensure accessible and affordable healthcare services. The allocation to interior and local government is 278.4 billion pesos. About 256.1 billion pesos is designated for the defense sector to promote national security, modernize defense capabilities, and ensure the safety and sovereignty of the country. Social welfare will receive 230.1 billion pesos. Agriculture will get 211.3 billion pesos. Transportation sees an increase with 180.9 billion pesos allocated for infrastructure development and modernization. The judiciary is allocated 63.6 billion pesos, and finally, the Department of Justice will receive 40.6 billion pesos. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Crescent Katarong, SMNI News.
The people of Davao City has something to say about the state of business in the city amid political issues. MJ Mondeja has the details.
Chef Frederico sees no reason for businesses not to thrive here in Davao City. This is despite the negative news associated with the city recently. This includes smear campaigns against the Dutertes, criticism in the war on drugs, frequent changes in the Davao City Police Chief, and the harassment of Kingdom of Jesus Christ members, particularly their spiritual leader, Pastor Apollo C. Kibuloy. All of these have cast a negative light on the city.
I'm from Davao. I don't really feel it here. I can guarantee that there's nothing to be scared of here in Davao. It's still normal.
As proof, Chef Patrick is opening his third restaurant in Davao. This signifies a good relationship between the local government and the business sector.
I suggest even at night, go out. Diba? Yan naman sabi ni Tatay Digong natin, diba? Go out, 11, 12, in the midnight, lakad ka. Walang gagalaw sa'yo. And I think right now you still can do that, so I don't think you should be afraid.
This sentiment is shared by the majority of the Davao City Council. According to City Councilor Teco Campo, potential investors have nothing to worry about when entering the city.
Maraming ang gusto mag-invest dito sa Davao City. I don't see any problem. I don't see any issues so far as yung kanilang seguridad, kung sigurado ba yung kanilang negosyo dito. Maraming gustong mamuhunan sa syudad ng Davao. Yan ang klaro.
The people of Davao are aware that the national government is politicizing their city. There have been attacks on former Davao Mayor, now Vice President Sara Duterte. Recently, Davao City Mayor Baste Duterte mentioned that the national government plans to issue him a suspension order. However, despite this, nothing can stop Davao's economic boom.
Alam mo, yan ang problema sa atin eh. Pag pinupolitika na tayo eh. Pero ang maganda lang dito, alam na ng taong bayan kasi kung anong katotohanan eh. People really who live in Davao City, who invested in Davao City, who have businesses in Davao City, they feel safe and they feel assured that their business will not be affected by all of these things that is happening around.
For Ganmabul of Philippines, MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
The Office of the Solicitor General has filed a petition with the Manila Regional Trial Court seeking the removal of the suspended mayor from office. Gonzalez reports.
The Office of the Solicitor General has filed a co-warranto petition against suspended Bamban Tarlac Mayor Alice Go in the Manila Regional Trial Court for her removal from office due to her non-Filipino citizenship. The 45-page petition states that records show Go Waping, also known as Alice Go, is a Chinese national and a holder of a Chinese passport. Her parents are Chinese nationals Lin Wenyi and Go Jianshong. Go's alien fingerprint card, birth date and home country address in Fujian, China, as well as her nationality as Chinese, match the documents submitted by Lin Wenyi. Her use of a Chinese passport is reportedly shown in the travel records held by the Bureau of Immigration or BI. According to BI's travel records, Go first arrived in the Philippines on July 12, 1999 using a Chinese passport. According to the National Bureau of Investigation's report, the fingerprint of Go Waping on the alien fingerprint card dated March 28, 2006 and the fingerprint of Alice Go on the biometric printout from the NBI master files are from the same person. The petition also states that Go did not become a Filipino citizen by birth or naturalization. It argues that the basis for the late registration of the suspended mayor's birth certificate is not legal or valid, as the names listed for her Filipino parents do not exist, with no records of their birth, marriage, or death, according to the Philippine Statistics Authority. They are appealing to the court to nullify Go's proclamation as mayor of Bamban and to remove her from office.
Because of the revelations, because of the findings made by this committee, most especially with the testimony of the National Bureau of Investigation, which stated that those two persons or those two names pertain to one and the same person, the job of the OSG in consolidating everything and coming up with a solid petition for co-warranto was accomplished.
Prior to this petition, the OSG had already filed an appeal with the Tarlac Regional Trial Court seeking the cancellation of Mayor Go's birth certificate. The hearing for the cancellation of her birth certificate is scheduled in September. For God and the beloved Philippines, this has been Marbil Gonzalez, SMNI News.
The Magnificent Seven, composed of major transport groups, threatened to hold a nationwide strike if the Senate continues to suspend the implementation of the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program. Chinatorno reports.
Various transportation groups expressed their grievances against the Senate leadership. This followed Senate President Cheese Escudero's statement supporting the proposed resolution to suspend the Public Utility Vehicle Modernization Program or PUVMP. Senator Rafi Tulfo, chairperson of the Senate Committee on Public Services, plans to introduce a resolution to suspend the program. Escudero believes that most senators will support this resolution, stating that there are issues with the program, such as the financing scheme, that need to be resolved before its implementation in the public transport sector. The Senate's plan, however, received condemnation from the Magnificent Seven, composed of major transport groups, including Pasang Mazda, LTOP, ACTODAP, ALTODAP, and other transport groups. Obet Martin, president of Pasang Mazda, deemed the Senate's plan as unacceptable because many operators have taken loans to join cooperatives.
Yung mga umutang, paano kami? Patuloy rin kami na ipaglaban at hindi po kami titigil. Lalo kaming malulubog sa utang o sususpend.
Pro-Jeepney Modernization Group said that modern jeeps cost millions of pesos, which operators borrow from banks. They also question why Escudero did not consult with industry players about the benefits of the PUVMP. If the Senate proceeds with the resolution regarding the PUVMP, the groups will unite to hold a nationwide transport strike.
Yung tigil pasada naming ikakasa, last recourse yan, sapagkat kailangan namin malaw, kailangan namin ipadama sa kanila na ito ang puwersa na nagkaisang 80% sa National Capital Region. Dito, hindi ko sinasabing 100%, pero 90% sasama po. Sa mga regional namin mga membro kasapian, nationwide, makikisa po lahat yan.
Transport Groups has also issued a warning to senators.
Gusto ko rin pong manawagan, lalo po sa hanay ng AltoDAP o sa lahat na po natin. Lahat po ng senador na pipirma sa isang resolusyon, huwag po natin silang iboto.
While transport groups that support PUVMP oppose Escudero's statement, other groups reacted differently. Manibela Group, which opposes the program, the Senate President's statement is a welcome development.
Matagal na natin itong pinaglalaban na kailangan mapag-aralan muna itong muli at talagang matanggap-tanggap ito para sa sektor ng transportasyon na alam naman natin ngayon na dati galing yan sa 1.4, bakit ngayon ay umaabot na sa halos 3 milyon ang isang unit.
Meanwhile, Manibela criticized the planned strike by Pasang Mas and other groups because they would still end up on the streets.
Sabi nila sa atin dati, hindi katanggap-tanggap yung mga ganitong tigil pasada. Pero sila na ngayon ang gagawa nito at sa kalsada din pala sila babalik. Karapatan din naman po nila ito na pagsagawa ng kilos protesta. Naintindihan naman natin sila.
In a text message sent by DOTR Undersecretary for Road Transport and Infrastructure, Jesus Ortega to SMNI News Team, the Transportation Department respects Senate President Escudero's suggestion. However, the transport sector received this with anger and sadness from a large portion of the sector. Ortega added that they continue their communication with operators who have joined cooperatives to guide them. To recall, after the consolidation deadline on April 30, over 80% of PUV operators joined cooperatives for the implementation of PUVMP. However, a percentage of the transport sector remains opposed, which is why they did not join the said program. For God and for my beloved Philippines, this has been Sheena Torno, SMNI News.
Coming up next, Dubai's tourism industry keeps expanding, having welcomed millions of international visitors in the first half of the year. And Japan's controversial gold mine is officially a part of UNESCO's World Heritage Site, but with certain conditions. Stay tuned for more news.
Magandang umaga Luzon, Visayas, Mindanao. Maayong buntag mga kapartner. Magandang araw sa buong mundo.
Magandang araw Pilipinas. Ito ang Pulso ng Bayan.
Hihimayin ang mga pangunahing issue sa ating bayan. Susuriin ang mga kinakailangang malaman ng taong bayan. Aalamin ang pulso ng bawat Pilipino sa mga pangyayari sa ating lipunan. Pulso ng Bayan, alas 7 hanggang alas 9 ng umaga, tuwing Lunes hanggang Biyernes. Kasama ang spokes ng Bayan, Attorney Harry Roque, at Marbil at Jade Calabroso. Dito lang sa SMNI.
Abangan ng Banateros tuwing Lunes hanggang Huwebes, live dito lang sa SMNI.
Yan ang banatero, walang inuurungan. Pag tama palakpakan, pag mali ay babanatan. Yan ang banatero.
Sabi nga nila, di ba? You will know them by their love. Yun ang sinabi sa Biblia. It's not on how good you are in quoting the scripture. It's giving love.
Grabe, hindi talaga hindi talaga kasya yung words eh. Kung paano natin i-express yung ating na-experience.
Mismo wala akong masabi. Kita ko kasi yung pagiging generous. Alam mo, madali kasi magsalita ng Diyos eh. Pero pagdating sa pera, pagdating sa pagiging generous, yung pagtulong sa iba, hindi biro yun. Maraming bagsak dyan. Maraming bagsak. Kaya ako nakikita ko yung pagiging generous niya. Hindi sa salita eh. Sa lakad. Bilib ako. Hindi dakda. Nakita mo sa gawa. In one word, authentic.
In a day marked by tensions and allegations of irregularities, Venezuela's National Electoral Council announced the victory of President Nicolas Maduro in the presidential election. However, the opposition claims that they won by a landslide. Let's find out more about this with David Lira.
Incumbent President Nicolas Maduro has won Venezuela's presidential election. According to Venezuela's National Electoral Council or CNE, Maduro secured 51.2% of the votes, which is higher compared to 44.2% for opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez. The CNE issued the declaration of Maduro's victory after 80% of the votes at the 50,000 polling stations across Venezuela had been counted. Maduro's victory comes hours after the opposition reported a series of irregularities on election day, including closed polling stations, retention of electoral records, and expulsion of election monitors. Hours before the official announcement, the Venezuelan government and the opposition claimed victory based on exit polls. The result announced by the Electoral Council contradicts most pre-election polls. To recall, opposition candidate Edmundo Gonzalez Urrutia had been leading in the polls in the run-up to Sunday's election. If confirmed, Maduro's victory is likely to be contested. There is a significant international pressure for the Venezuelan electoral process to be credible and transparent. Amid a tense political climate, Maduro had predicted a bloodbath in the country if he lost the election. More than 21.6 million Venezuelans were eligible to vote, with the voter turnout being recorded at 59%, according to Venezuelan's Electoral Council. Meanwhile, shortly after the announcement of the results, Maduro vowed to maintain peace, stability, and justice in the country. This has been David Lira, your global citizen correspondent for SMNI News.
Japan's Sado gold mine gains World Heritage status after Tokyo agreed to include an exhibit of World War II history. Ria Saito for the details.
The UNESCO World Heritage Committee decided to register Japan's Sado Island gold mine as a cultural heritage site. According to UNESCO, the Sado Island gold mines are a serial property located on Sado Island, some 35 kilometers west of the Niigata Prefecture coast. It is formed of several component parts illustrative of different unmechanized mining methods. Sado Gold Mine was once the largest gold mine complex in the world, and it was approved for inscription on the UNESCO World Heritage List at a committee hearing in India. To recall, South Korea initially opposed its registration, saying that the mining complex was the site of forced labor involving Koreans during the World War II. In response to this, UNESCO recommended to Japan that it should develop facilities that comprehensively address at the site level the whole history of the nominated property throughout all periods of mining exploitation. After negotiating for months, the Japanese government agreed to set up an exhibit about the working conditions of the Sado Gold Mine Aikawa History Museum on Sado Island. Japan also said that it would hold an annual memorial event on the island for the wartime laborers. A South Korean representative consented to the registration of the mining complex. Following the Sado Gold Mine's inclusion to the World Heritage List, the South Korean Foreign Ministry said it hopes Japan will take faithful measures and continue efforts to improve ties between Japan and South Korea. Reporting from Tokyo, Japan, this has been Ria Saito, your global citizen correspondent for God and our beloved country, the Philippines.
Shanghai is offering free rides in self-driving taxis or robo-taxis during its trial phase. Chat Bongon Pisamagonzon tells us more.
This is an automated vehicle called a robotaxi with features such as an animation showing the taxi's movements as well as its ability to play music. Although someone was sitting in the driver's seat, they did not touch the steering wheel throughout the ride. One passenger described the experience as astounding as the car can handle all driving functions on its own. The vehicle also featured a user-friendly interface for English speakers and entertained passengers with music and animations showing the taxi's movements.
And I heard about this new robot self-driving AI system, and for me, I'm really interested in this sort of stuff, so I just had to come out here to Jiading today to give it a try. I honestly didn't expect there to be a driver sitting in the seat as well, but I guess it makes sense because they're just starting it out, so for safety purposes, they need to have someone there to take over just in case. But I was really impressed that the driver did not put their hands on the wheel one time at all during any of the rides, and it was just astounding to see the car just move on its own, accelerate, brake, decelerate, everything. I thought it was really, really fascinating, and I'm really excited about the potential possibilities with this.
Driverless robotaxis are currently in operation on a small scale in the US, China, and the UAE, where they face scrutiny over safety, pricing, and job impacts. In China, passengers can travel up to 10 kilometers in a driverless car for about 50 cents. Shanghai, Shenzhen, and Wuhan, as well as several other cities in China, have begun issuing licenses for companies like Baidu's Apollo Go and Alibaba Associated AutoX. Reporting from Thailand, I'm Chatmongkol Pisamagoson, your global citizens correspondent for SMNI News Channel.
The Barrio Fiesta in Nottingham and Dorset were attended by thousands of people across the Midlands and Southern England. Viviana Esguerra for the report.
The Barrio Fiestas in Nottingham and Dorset drew thousands of attendees across the Midlands and Southern England. Organized by the Nottingham Filipino community, the Nottingham Bar Festa 2024, held on June 29 to 30 at Melbourne Park, was a major success. The two-day event featured non-stop performances, a variety of stalls with Filipino cuisine and products, and showcased the Filipino spirits of camaraderie. In its 5th year, Filipinos in the Midlands, along with their families and friends, flocked to the event. British locals also joined in the festivities. Various stalls offered Filipino cuisine and products for everyone to enjoy. Nilo Alonso, the NFC president, attributed the event's success to the hard work and support of all participants.
This is the 5th Barrio Fiesta that what we're doing 2024, and yeah, it's very successful and people is enjoying it. Thank you so much. So next year again then, see you all there. Maraming salamat.
Nottingham Mayor Councillor Carol McCullough and Lean Valley Councillor Audrey Dingle praised the organisers for bringing the community together.
This is the 5th Barrio Festival that we've been to. It really opens up to the whole community. Doesn't matter if you don't come from the Philippines. It's absolutely brilliant with brilliant food, meeting all new people, all the children, all having a great time.
It's absolutely brilliant, and I like how it brings all of our local community together. And what I really love is all the acts that come on, they're absolutely brilliant. I really love coming to watch them. It's really great, we love it. And the food, oh my goodness.
And all the councillors, because we've got 6 councillors in the area, over the days have all come to the Barrio Festival. So even the MPs from the local Nottingham MPs have came to the festival yesterday.
And as you can see, it's got bigger and bigger every single year, which is absolutely fantastic.
So well done, the organisers, Nolan and Joy. And looking forward to the 6th year.
Special guests included recording artist and actor Jairo Custodio, comedians Pepita and Ian Red, and BBC The Voice UK contestant Susan Lovejoy, who all received a warm welcome. The first day featured performances and the search for Miss Nottingham 2024. The second day included a Santa Cruzan after a morning mass, with performances continuing throughout the day. Local Filipino firms and enterprises also showcased their products and services. Attendees and performers alike expressed their appreciation and look forward to a bigger and better events next year.
It's so touching and it's an inspiration as well. And also, being a Filipina, it makes me proud that we are promoting our culture, which is so unique to everyone. And it's also a chance to showcase our talents. Also, our Barrio Fiesta gives entrepreneurs their chance to showcase their food and also the culture of the Philippines. So, and it also gives revenue for them. And also, thank you for having me.
Honestly, it felt so surreal. The opportunity in itself and the experience that I was able to gain to grow not only myself but my confidence through the Nottingham Barrio Fiesta, Miss Bini Bini, as your new 2024 queen. I'm honestly so excited for what more I have in store. Happy Nottingham Barrio Fiesta 2024! Meanwhile, the Dorset Bar Festa was successfully held at Kings Park, Bournemouth on July 13, 2024. The event's success was a surprise for the presidents of the Filberts community in Dorset, despite a sudden change of weather in the middle of the day.
Today it has been an amazing day. Despite the weather, it's very changeable, but the event must go on, and it is very successful indeed. One of the best successful events that we have. It rained, but we got through it, and then the sun is shining again. And we had some fantastic performers, fantastic crowd, and thank you SMNI viewers, and thank you SMNI, and thank you for joining our event, and you've always been here, and thank you for your support.
Along with the changing weather, the event was successful with a series of impressive cultural dance performances by local Filipinos. Various stalls offering Filipino cuisine and products were prepared for the attendees. A Santa Cruzan was held during the celebration, and performances continued throughout the day until the afternoon. There were also raffle draws with amazing prizes from different sponsors.
Recognition was also given in appreciation of those who tirelessly helped to make this event a reality. The Southampton Folcom President and Secretary expressed their joy at being invited at the successful Barfesta in Dorset.
It's a pleasure to be invited on this big occasion of Bournemouth Bio Fiesta. Actually, June 8th, we had a big affair, and the dancers of Bournemouth joined us, and they invited us for this big event.
We're so happy to be here, and it's been such a lovely weather, such a lovely atmosphere, and we would like to thank all the organizers, especially Robert and the crew for inviting us, and it's a really good way to actually exercise friendship and good communication between communities. So we hope to have more collaboration in future with the community of Bournemouth and Southampton.
Reporting from the United Kingdom, this is Leviana Esguerra, your global citizen correspondent for God and our beloved country, the Philippines.
When we come back, Dubai's tourism industry keeps expanding, having welcomed millions of international visitors in the first half of the year. And will Malaysia become the first Southeast Asian country to join BRICS? The nation has submitted its membership application to the economic bloc. Newsline World will be back after the break.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity. In the spiritual, you don't have to have a doll in order to become a witch. When you psychologically hurt someone, you are a witch. You know how a witch is hurt spiritually? A cold shoulder, mental abuse, physical abuse is witchcraft. Soul winners are not like that. Soul winners are winning souls through love, peace and joy, meekness, gentleness, goodness, kindness. Whether you are on the first, second, or third level of spiritual growth, we are all participating in the same body. We have a care for everyone in the body. Whether you are part of the feet, which is the lowest of all, whether you are in the hand, or whether what part you are, one to another, there is participation of love. That's why Jesus Christ said, love one another. that the world may know you are my disciples. There are so many who question me, why are you called the appointed Son of God? Isn't there only one Son of God? Don't you know that all of you are sons of God? Children of God, all of you. Children of God, sons and daughters of the Father Almighty. When the devil came and took over, we became children of the devil without us knowing it. That's why he sent his son there in the Middle East. His name is Jesus Christ, to be crucified on the cross so that you and I will become like him. I am from a Gentile nation. You are from a Gentile nation. My father and mother are pure human beings. He saved me first so that he could save you through me. He is looking for a body where he can dwell here on this earth that is not religious, that cannot be used by religion alone. He alone can use that body. And I told him when he called me, Father, I'm here, use me. And I came here, and the Father is using me. I am not being used by religion. I'm not being used by denomination. I'm being used by the Father Almighty. And He sent me here to tell you that this is now the time for you to become sons and daughters of God, just like me.
Back in the news, millions of tourists visited Dubai in the first half of the year, a significant increase over the tourist arrivals in the same period last year. Valdim Negracial reports.
9.31 million international oversight visitors traveled to Dubai from January to June 2024. According to the Dubai Department of Economy and Tourism, or DET, this is a 9% increase over the 8.55 million tourist arrivals in the same period last year. The agency also reported that Dubai achieved impressive growth in key markets in the first half of 2024 due to DET's targeted campaigns in collaboration with domestic stakeholders and over 3,000 global partners in 80 markets. Sheikh Hamdan bin Mohammed bin Rashid Al Maktoum, the Crown Prince of Dubai, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Defense of the UAE and Chairman of the Executive Council of Dubai, hailed this achievement as a testament to the city's ability to foster productive public-private partnerships and build extensive global networks of collaboration. Sheikh Hamdan urged all industry stakeholders to strengthen partnerships with key markets, explore new opportunities, and enhance Dubai's position. Dubai's growing tourism aligns with the first year of the Dubai Economic Agenda D33, which aims to solidify further Dubai's position as a leading global destination for business and leisure. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Valdivina Grasha, SMNI News.
Israel's Mossad chief traveled to Rome, Italy, with top negotiators from other countries to discuss the updated proposal for ceasefire and hostage exchange deal between Israel and Hamas. Melchizedek Cadiz for the details.
A joint meeting of senior officials from Israel, Qatar, Egypt, and the United States to negotiate a ceasefire in Gaza adjourned early on Sunday afternoon, just several hours after it began in Rome, Italy, without any apparent progress. According to Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's office, Mossad Director David Barnea had returned from his meeting with the mediators in Rome, and the negotiations were expected to resume in the coming days. At the meeting, the officials discussed an Israeli document with clarifications regarding the draft agreement that was conveyed from Israel. According to the Israeli newspaper Haaretz, Israel has toughened its position by demanding additional checkpoints along strategic roads between southern and northern Gaza, as well as control over an area along the border between Gaza and Egypt. The four-way meeting was part of an effort to reach a ceasefire and hostage exchange deal in which more than 100 hostages held by Hamas in Gaza would be exchanged for hundreds of Palestinians jailed by Israel under a three-stage plan that has been discussed since late May. To recall, it is believed that of the 251 people hostaged by Hamas during the October 7 attack, 111 remain in Gaza. This, however, includes the bodies of the 39 people confirmed dead by the Israeli Defense Forces, or IDF. Reporting from Kuwait, I am Melchizedek Cadiz, your global citizen correspondent for God and for our beloved country, the Philippines.
The Paris 2024 Olympics are full of swing, and the athletes of Team Brazil are shining on Parisian soil. Andrea de Souza will tell us more.
The Paris Olympics officially began on July 26, and Brazil has already secured medals in several important events. For the first time in history, the Brazilian delegation will have more women than men. Women represent 55% of the qualified athletes, 153 in total, an increase from the last edition of the competition where they represented 47%. In total, 276 athletes are participating in the games, competing in 39 different events. The competition runs from July 26 to August 11. Team Brazil has already won some notable medals. Among the medalists are William Lima, who won silver in judo in the 66 kilograms category, Larissa Pimenta, who took bronze in judo in the 52 kilograms category, and Raíssa Leal, who also won bronze in the street skateboarding. The performance of the Brazilian athletes so far demonstrates the strength and talent of the delegation, with a special highlight on the women, who are in the majority this edition. I'm André de Souza, your global citizen correspondent for SMNI News.
Without holding back, the Chief Executive Officer of the Kingdom of Jesus Christ expressed strong sentiments regarding the ongoing harassment experienced by KOJC at the hands of authorities under the Marcos administration. Let's find out more on this report by Hannah Jane Sancho.
Huwag ninyo kaming sagarin. Matino kaming kausap, matino kaming kingdom citizen, matino kaming Filipino citizen. Kaya huwag kayong ganon-ganon na kala nyo natatakot kami dyan sa mga patrol ninyo na yan. Kung totoo kayo mga law enforcer, aba dapat proud kayo. O di ba kaya may mga pangalan. Nahiya nga kayong ipakita ang mukha ninyo. Kasi nga, mula kayo sa kadiliman. Tingnan ninyo saan man kayo pumunta. Kaayusan, pagbabago, peace, love. Pero, hindi niyo ma-appreciate. Kasi nga, meron kayong mga malicious intent. Oh. Pera. Yun ang inyo. Greed of power. Yan ang inyo. Binigyan kayo ng power ng sambayanang Pilipino. Oy, kayong nasa power, lalo nga kayo nang sa Malacanang BBM, you are the president of the whole Philippines. Yung nag-vote sa inyo at hindi nagboto sa iyo, president ka ng buong Pilipinas. You should be the unifying factor of the Philippine people. Pero tingnan yung ginagawa mo. Oh, kung may puso ka, alam mo ganong matino ang aming mahal na pastor. Pero tingnan ninyo, tapos panik kaming buong komunidad dito, idadamay ninyo. Oh, we are living here peacefully. Namumuhay kami ng makatarungan. Hindi kami prostitute, hindi kami bangag. Walang mitino-tinuladang shabu dito. Tapos ganyan ang gagawin ninyo. Then you are the most unrighteous authority in the whole Philippines.
Straightforward and without the hint of hesitation. This is how the Kingdom of Jesus Christ Chief Executive Officer, Sister Dalida Lezada, expressed her feelings about the harassment and intimidation being done by authorities against Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and the church workers following the Day of Infamy, which happened on June 10, 2024. This is a day that the members and missionaries of KOJC will never forget. The day when violent police officers desecrated and humiliated the sacred religious compounds of KOJC in Davao City and Sarangani Province. The day when violent police officers disrespected and hurt the defenseless church missionaries. Because of this, KOJC workers and members, especially the youth, women, and senior citizens who witnessed firsthand the violent attack on the KOJC religious compounds, experience intense fear, trauma, and anxiety. And despite the violence suffered by KOJC, instead of stopping the harassment, the police have intensified it further. Now, cops are stationed around the KOJC religious compound in Davao City, 24 hours a day. They say it's for police visibility.
Magwardya-gwardya mo, mag-police presence mo sa tupangan sa Kingdom of Jesus Christ. Ginugulo nyo kami.
But who still believes the excuse coming from these cops?
Nasaan ang law and order? Nasaan yung sound mind ninyo? Nasaan ang sense of righteous judgment ninyo? Wala. Oh, mga general kayo, ang babright ninyo. Oh, bakit hindi kayo nang marunong tumingin ng tama at hindi tama? Oh, at tapos pupunta kayo dito, aakyat kayo sa mga pader at sa kung sa ano-ano pa man namin. Magpapalipad kayo ng mga dorm kung ano-ano pa dyan gagawin ninyo. Bakit hindi nyo ilagay sa ayos ang lahat? Mag-usap tayo. Oh, hindi gano'n na para kayo mga nasa 15th century pa namumuhay. Tingnan nyo yung mga gawa ninyo. Oh. Gawa ba yan ng moderno? Maayos na mga law enforcer? Sige, tanungin ko kayo. Ito coming from my heart. Oh, tingnan ninyo yan. Nasaan ang kaayusan? Nasaan ang law and order? Oh, wala. You are no longer in your sanity. You are beyond. I want ko kung ano naka-influence sa inyo. Kung ano ang utak ng leader ninyo, yan ang resulta ng gawa ninyo. Katulad na ang utak ng aming mahal na pastor at puso ay nasa kayusan.
The KOJC does not fathom why, despite several failed attempts to serve arrest warrants at the KOJC religious compounds, the police are still relentless, monitoring them with armed forces.
Ang sentiment kong ito ay hindi lang aking sentiment ito. I'm sure this is the sentiment of all the kingdom citizens that you have offended. Tandaan ninyo, ang itinuro sa amin ay mga salita ng Diyos. Pasalamat kayo, binago kami ni Pastor. Kahit ano mangyari, ang turo sa amin, love your enemy. Mahirap yun na law ng Panginoon, kahit ako nagtanong ako sa Ama. But we have to use our faith. Because we believe, all you, kayong mga walang Diyos sa puso ninyo, pakinggan ninyo ito. Mas masakit ang judgment mula sa langit. The most, yung pinakamasakit na bayad sa kasalanan, yung nakagawa ka ng injustice sa kapwa mo. Yun ang paalala ko sa inyo. Kasi sinabi ng Panginoon, vengeance is mine. Yun ang pinanghahawakan namin.
KOJC Legal Counsel Attorney Adam Jampangan pointed out that the police harassment not only bothers KOJC missionaries, but also disrupts the students of Jose Maria College Foundation Incorporated, which is located inside the KOJC compound headquarters. The KOJC Legal Counsel stressed that schools are considered a zone of peace.
I just want to add, this matter is really alarming, disturbing, at the same time bothersome, because hindi naman talaga issue yung sinasabi ni Marbil na kakulangan ng kapulisan, but I think it's more on an even distribution of police assignments and concentrating here on this matter. You cannot cover your real intention by putting up checkpoints in the vicinity of KOJC compound, which is composed of not only the church but also the school. I am really bothered by that fact na may paaralan kasi, may mga estudyante. And ang laki ng Davao. This is supposed to be a zone of peace. We want to emphasize that this is a school. This is a place of learning. How would you expect students to be comfortable in learning their lessons when your presence is there, posing threat, intimidation, and fear? So I hope you consider that.
Attorney Jabangan questioned the presence of the PNP outside the religious compound despite the trauma already caused to KOJC missionaries.
Why do you concentrate your force here? Dito lang, ang laki ng Davao, and marami pang area na kailangan na may police presence. Bakit mas marami dito? Haven't you considered the fact that you already caused trauma during the June 10 incident? Hindi mo yan pwedeng i-deny. So, meaning to say, the mere presence and appearance there again and again is causing another trauma, paulit-ulit. It's causing harassment, fear, and anxiety not only to Kingdom citizens, but also to students of Jose Maria College. And you have to consider that the students here in JMCFI are not only postgraduate students. May mga minors dito from basic ed up to postgraduate. Lahat yan nag-aaral. And naka-display kayo dyan sa harapan.
The KOJC Administrator is questioning why the supposed law enforcers are targeting the properties of the KOJC.
Inalagaan namin ito, lahat ng nakikita ninyo dito, bunga ito ng pag-iisip ng isang taong malinis ang puso at kaluluwa. Kasi hindi pwedeng maganda ang isang taong liko ang utak. Yan ay ang aming mahal na pastor. Itinuro sa amin ang kaayusan, itinuro sa amin ang kalinisan, itinuro sa amin ang kapayapaan, itinuro sa amin ang pag-ibig sa kapwa, lalo na sa inyong mga military men in uniform. Kayo ang unang grupong itinanim ni pastor sa puso namin ang pagmamahal sa inyo, dahil sabi ng aming pastor noon, kayo ang nag-lay down ng life ninyo para sa ating Pilipinas, sa kapayapaan. But what you're doing now is kabaliktaran. Overnight, gi-change ninyo ang impression namin sa inyo. You are no longer a protector of law and order, but you are now the one breaking law and order. Mantakin mo, simbahan ito. Mapayapa kaming namumuhay. Nakikita nyo ang sa loob nito, noon bukas kayo dito. Oh, anong nakikita nyo? Kaayusan. Resulta yan ng disiplina namin dito sa loob ng kingdom na itunuro sa amin ng aming mahal na pastor. Bakit ganito ang resulta? Dahil dito, zero corruption. Wala kaming pansariling mga plano para sa aming mga buhay, kundi para sa lahat, sa kaayusan ng aming community.
Political vlogger and commentator Banat Bay, who is also one of the anchors of SMNI, raised concerns about the Marcos administration's apparent obsession with bringing down Pastor Apollo Sikibuloy and KOJC.
Alam nyo sana, mga kababayan, tulad po din namin mga banateros, hindi naman po namin responsibilidad na ipagtanggol ang KOJC, pero dito po kami tumutulong lumaban dahil naniniwala po kami na meron talagang pag-aabusong ginagawa ang gobyerno na ito sa KOJC at maging kay Pastor Kibuloy. Ito'y ginawa sa kanila para po magkaroon talaga ng fear sa kung sino man ang lalaban sa gobyerno. Ito ngang dati naming kaalyado, dati naming kaibigan, dating tumulong sa amin ay kaya naming pabagsakin o ibagsak kayo pang mga hindi namin nakaalyado. Sa tingin ko yun talaga ang pinapakita ng gobyerno ni Marcos na pabagsakin, kaya nila gustong-gusto at obsessed sila kay Pastor Kibuloy at saka sa KOJC. So sana po mga kababayan, wala po ito yung membro ka o hindi ka membro o concern lang ba ito ng mga taga KOJC. Hindi po. Ito po'y pang-aapit, pang-aabuso ng gobyerno sa mga Pilipino. Sana po ay samahan nyo kami at ang buong KOJC sa laban na ito.
Meanwhile, the Chief Executive Officer of KOJC has a challenge for President Bongbong Marcos Jr.
Sinabi ninyo, at ikaw, Honorable President, batas is batas. Pwes, bigyan ninyo kami ng example paano kayo tumupad sa batas. Ha? Give us a fair treatment and fair trial. O kung ganon, ilan, sige. O, pero gamitin naman ninyo yung inyong utak kasi ang babright ninyo. O, ang gadit ninyo, ang high-tech. Hindi naman kayo mga bobo, kayo mga general. Bakit hindi kayo mag-investigate? Ganito, ganyan. O, yun ang sa amin ba? You are sowing fear. Alam ninyo, ubos na ang lahat naming takot at lahat naming ubos na. Isa lang na ang naiwan sa amin ngayon. Yun ang sinasabing ko, huwag ninyong sagarin kami. Kasi matino kaming kausap. Ilang beses kayong pumasok dito. In-entertain namin kayo bilang mga tao at mga officer na we respect before. I don't know, hindi ko na ma-describe ninyo yung feeling ko sa inyo. Kung papasilitain mo lang sa rutong lahat ng mga kingdom citizen, aywan ko lang. Oh, ako pa lang itong unang nagsalita kasi parang puputok ng dibdib ko ba?
Despite this, the KOJC remains steadfast and will continue to stand for the truth amidst persecution, insults, and defamation against Pastor Apollo Kibuloy.
Kaya sinasabi ko sa inyo, huwag ninyo kaming sagarin, please. Do not produce rebels out of us. Oh, matino kami. Mula sa kadiliman, inayos ni Pastor ang aming buhay. Tinuruan kami. Oh, anong turo niya sa amin noon? Mula sa inyo, maging matino kayo para naman makakontribute tayo sa Pilipinas. Di nakaproduce ako ng mga matitinong tao na katulad ninyo. But, tingnan ninyo, dinimonize ninyo ang aming mahal na pastor. Kami ang production ni pastor. Hindi niyo ba nakikita? Hindi niyo nakikita ang kahit lahat sa ang lugar na puntahan namin, ang kadiliman magliliwanag. Oh, ang mabaho, babango. Ang basura, magiging garden. So ito ang warning namin sa inyo. Do not produce rebels out of us because matino ang utak namin. So, yun lang ang akin. Oh, isa pa, baka nainggit kayo sa na-produce namin. Oh, because you have green-eyed, full of jealousy. Oh, bakit hindi nyo kami gawing pilot project ninyo? Magtanong kayo, Kingdom of Jesus Christ, bakit ganito ang produce ninyo? Bakit ganyan? Oh, edi sana tuturuan namin kayo, dito zero corruption. Ang corrupt dito, tinatalsik. Oh, hindi minamahal, tinatalsik kung ayaw niyang magbago. Ganon.
Sister Lozada recalled Marcos Jr.'s visit to KOJC Prayer Mountain, criticizing his current administration. The KOJC Administrator reiterated that the role of a national leader should be to unite the people, not to divide them.
At ito pa, Mr. President, reminder ko sa iyo. I remember nung ikaw ay senador pa, kung ano ba yung position mo, you came to visit the Prayer Mountain. Hindi ko yan makakalimutan. Sinabi mo kay Pastor, Pastor, maganda ang lugar na ito. Anong ginawa mo? Pwede palang gawin ganito, Pastor, no, ang Pilipinas. Anong sagot sa iyo ni Pastor? Makinig kang muli. I want to remind you of this. Oh, anong sabi ni Pastor sa iyo? Bong, dito kasi zero corruption. Oh, lahat ng blessing ng yan, ikaw yan. Oh, diba? Yung lahat, yung tinatapakan mo dyan, production yan ng matinong utak at puso ng isang tao. Alam mo ba, yung inaapakan mo dyan, dugo at pawis namin, kami ang naabutan ng madaling araw, babait lalaki, si pastor ang nangunguna sa amin, kami ang nag-aayos ng mga bricks, ng mga simento, ng mga garden, ng lahat. Walang hiring, walang gasto. Yan ang tinatawag na bayanihan. Just imagine kung ma-unite mo ang Pilipinas, anong mangyayari sa Pilipinas? And remember, you are the president of those who voted for you and those who did not vote for you. You should be the unifying factor of the Philippine people.
Not even fiery darts can stop the KOJC from standing for the truth, serving as a light in a nation shrouded in lies and deception.
For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, this has been Hannah Jane Sancho, SMNI News.
And before we end, may you be inspired with the words of the Sun. Discipline and sacrifice are the ingredients to success. That's all for this edition. For more news update, you may visit smnichannel.com or follow us in our official social media accounts on Rumble, YouTube, Facebook, and Twitter. God and Country, I'm Frederico Velloso, and this is Newsline World.
This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
Subscribe to SMNI News Channel and turn on the notification bell to keep you up to date. Also visit our official social media accounts and join our community on Viber and Telegram.